Namaste everyone, I'm your co-host Shravani ma'am. Welcome to your favorite learning channel. The topic for today's video is need of preventing pollution. So in our previous video we had learned about the term pollution. So we now know that pollution is caused when harmful substances are introduced into environment, and these harmful substances not only cause disastrous effects to the environment but also it causes harm to the living organisms. So there is a need of preventing this pollution. And how can we prevent pollution we will discuss today. So the prevention of pollution prevention of pollution can include it includes any step it includes any step or practice or any kind of regulation any kind of regulation that aims at reducing which aims at reducing or eliminating eliminating the pollution. Okay, so this is how we can prevent pollution, and today we will be studying about this in detail. We already know that there are four types of pollution, that is air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution and noise pollution, and we will be looking at the prevention of each type of pollution separately. Okay, so let's begin with the prevention of air pollution. Okay, so there are various steps that we can follow to control air pollution. So we can say that the factories which produce smoke, the factories producing smoke should be located distantly. Should be where they must be located? They must be located distantly from the residential locality. So that in the residential locality the smoke doesn't reach much and this does not cause any respiratory diseases. Okay, then the smoke producing factories should be advised the smoke producing factories should be advised of what? They must be advised to use smoke filters. They should use the smoke filters, or they must use less polluting less polluting raw materials. Okay, then the use of public transport should be encouraged. Use of public transport must be encouraged. Okay, so and this use of public transport would reduce the emission of fumes from vehicles. As we use public transport and do not take our own vehicles, the amount of the vehicular emission can be reduced. Then we should use CNG. Use of CNG, that is compressed natural gas, that is CNG must be used. Instead of use of CNG, should be preferred, should be preferred over what? Preferred to petrol and diesel. Okay, so instead of using petrol or diesel, we must use CNG because it's a fuel, and the combustion of CNG produces few emissions compared to all other fuels. Okay, so these are the some steps that we can follow in order to prevent air pollution. Now let's talk about prevention of water pollution. So let's see how can we prevent water pollution. Okay, so sewage must be treated. Sewage should be what? Treated. And where it must be treated? At the sewage treatment plants. At the sewage treatment plants, the sewage must be treated before being discharged. Before being discharged, before they are discharged into where? Into the water bodies. So first the sewage needs to be treated in sewage treatment plants before they are discharged into water bodies. Okay, then the use of fertilizers should be minimal, because when we use too much of fertilizers, they are washed away to water bodies when it rains heavily, and this again leads to water pollution. Hence the use of fertilizers or the harmful or chemical fertilizers should be used in minimal amount. Okay, then efficient sanitation amenities should be provided. Efficient sanitation amenities should be provided to people, so that the processes of washing or bathing in water bodies can be reduced, and hence pollution of water can be reduced. Then the throwing of wastes into water bodies, into the water bodies must be what? This practice must be discouraged. Okay, so these are the several steps we can follow in order to prevent water pollution. Now let's see how we can prevent, that is prevention of soil pollution. Let's see how can we prevent the pollution of soil. So use of organic fertilizers should be encouraged. Use of organic fertilizers must be encouraged on the fields. Okay, so we must encourage the use of organic fertilizers instead of chemical fertilizers. Then toxic waste from industries should be incinerated. Toxic wastes from industries. Okay, so toxic wastes from industries must be, what we should do? We must incinerate, must be incinerated, that is burnt. Okay, they must be burnt before disposal. Okay, then the waste should be segregated into, or we can say segregate the wastes into what? Into biodegradable, and non biodegradable, before their disposal. Okay, so waste must be first segregated into biodegradable waste and non biodegradable waste before disposing them. Okay, then mercury and lead batteries, the mercury and lead batteries should not be dumped directly on the dumping sites, should not be dumped directly, they must not be dumped directly where? On the dumping sites. Okay, so use of alternative batteries, that is unleaded batteries, must be encouraged. Okay, use of unleaded batteries, that is they are alternative batteries, these batteries must be encouraged, their use must be encouraged. Okay, so these are the several ways by which we can prevent soil pollution. Now let's talk about the prevention of noise pollution. Let's see what are the different steps we can follow in order to reduce the pollution of noise. So honking unnecessary on roads should be discouraged. Honking unnecessarily on roads should be discouraged. Okay, and use of loudspeakers in open areas at night, then the use of loudspeakers in open areas at night must be, okay, at night must be highly discouraged, in order to prevent the noise pollution. This must be highly discouraged. So there are rules and regulations pertaining to the use of loudspeaker that must be followed, that is, a loudspeaker or a public address system shall not be used at night between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So except in closed premises for communication, that is within auditoriums, conference rooms, community halls and banquet halls. Okay, so this type of regulations must be followed at all the times. So let's now quickly revise the things that we have studied today. So today here we have discussed about the ways of preventing different types of pollution. Okay, so in the last video we had learned how pollution has harmful effects on not only on environment but also on living organisms as well. So prevention of pollution includes any step, practice or regulation that aims at reducing or eliminating the pollution. Okay, then we had already discussed that there are four types of pollution. Here we have discussed the steps that we can follow in order to prevent the different types of pollution. So first we have discussed about the prevention of air pollution. So the factories that produce smoke must be located distantly from the residential locality, okay, in order to prevent air pollution. Then the factories which produce smoke must use smoke filters or must use less polluting raw materials. Then the use of public transport must be encouraged, and we must use compressed natural gas instead of petrol and diesel because it has very few emissions as compared to all other fuels. Then we talked about the prevention of water pollution. And how can we prevent water pollution? The sewage must be first treated in sewage treatment plants before they are discharged into water bodies. Then the use of fertilizers must be minimized, and efficient sanitation amenities must be provided to people so that they don't pollute the water bodies, and throwing of wastes into water bodies must be discouraged. Then we also talked about the prevention of soil pollution. So how to reduce soil pollution or prevent soil pollution? The use of organic fertilizers must be encouraged on field instead of the use of chemical fertilizers. Then toxic waste that are present or that arise from industries must be incinerated, which means they must be burned before they are disposed. Then we must segregate the waste into biodegradable and non biodegradable waste before they are disposed. And mercury and lead batteries should not be dumped directly on the dumping sites. Instead, we need to use or we should use the unleaded or alternative forms of batteries must be used, and their use must be encouraged. Okay, then we talked about prevention of noise pollution. So how can we prevent noise pollution? The honking, unnecessarily honking on roads should be discouraged, and use of loudspeakers in open areas at night must be highly discouraged. And there are specific rules and regulations pertaining to the use of loudspeakers, and those rules and regulations must be followed at all the times. Okay. So I hope you all would have got some great insights by watching today's video. Please do not forget to like and share the video. Till then, thank you for watching.